and happy Friday. It is January 15th, which also happens to be my birthday, and that's why I'm wearing a hat today. So if you are joining the conversation, please go ahead and throw your name and the country that you're from in the chat and any questions that you may have. And I will go ahead and get started with the topic for today, which is how or what to do if I get sick in the United States. And this is a common question or concern, or maybe you could even say fear, that I have heard from a lot of my former international students, and that I had myself too, going abroad to live in other countries, is, what do you do if something happens to you? You get in an accident or you get sick in another country. And it's a very legitimate concern a lot of people have, because healthcare systems are pretty different depending on what country you're in. So to get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about health insurance, but also just answer some maybe general questions that a lot of people have. So health insurance in the United States is another topic that can seem pretty confusing to many foreigners. And as someone coming to live, study, or work here, you have to have health insurance for you and any family members that you have with you. And the reason for this is that in the United States, the cost to go to the doctor or the hospital or buy medicine can be very high. So health insurance helps you pay for that cost. So I will talk a little bit about that today, and just some other questions specifically for students. If you're a student that's coming to the United States to study, what do you do if you get sick? أهلا وسهلا يا محمد، كيف حالك اليوم? I hope you're having a good day. Hello. Okay. اليوم كيف أقوله بالعربي؟ اليوم يوم عيد ميلادي. So that's why I'm wearing this. Good, I'm glad to hear that. So I'm good, thank you very much. We're talking about what to do if you get sick in the United States. So to start off, what is health insurance? I explained this a little bit already, but a company that pays for part of your medicine or any costs that you have if you have to go to the doctor. And this can also include the dentist too, if you need to go for something with your teeth, or just regular appointments with the doctor. So health insurance helps you pay for that cost, because it's pretty expensive in the United States usually. And so another question that a lot of students have asked is, if I have health insurance, does that mean all my medical costs will be free? Free, like I don't have to pay anything. And I know that this is the case in some countries. Like in Spain, I had to go to the doctor, actually the emergency room, because I ate some fish in Spain and one of the bones got stuck in my throat. It was pretty bad. So I had to go to the emergency room, and I didn't have to pay anything, even as a foreigner, which to me as an American is pretty crazy concept to think about, but it was good for me at the time. But it doesn't exactly work that way here in the United States. So almost all the time you'll have to pay something to go to the doctor or to get medicine, but health insurance just makes that cost a lot smaller. Thank you. How did you know that? I don't know how you do that. Okay, so not all of your costs will be free. but they will be cheaper than if you did not have health insurance. So, for example, if you get surgery, you have to have surgery on a part of your body. With insurance, surgery may cost $5,000 or $6,000, which is still a lot of money. Of course, it depends on what kind of a surgery you're going to have. But without insurance, the same surgery could cost you $20,000, $21,000. So much, much more expensive without insurance. So for students specifically, if we're talking about health insurance or if you get sick when you're in the United States, colleges and universities have health centers on campus that you can go to see a doctor. And if you are attending a college or university as an international student, you will be required to have health insurance. So this is a fee that you have to pay every semester to have student health insurance through your college or university. So this can usually be $350 to $550 per semester. The only exception to this is if you are a sponsored student. So Mohammed, for example, you're from Saudi Arabia. If you were to be sponsored by your government or your employer, like your job, then your government or your employer would pay for your health insurance, and you would waive or tell the college or university, I don't need your health insurance. Does that make sense? So you said, when I get sick, I go to the hospital. I will talk a little bit about that also. So you don't always have to go to the hospital when you get sick. There are other options depending on what's wrong with you exactly. So I'll just go ahead and answer that right now. So you have other options as well. So for example, if you are a student at a college or university in the United States, and you just maybe you are having bad headaches, or you have a stomach ache or something not too serious, you can go to the health center on your campus, and they have doctors there on campus at your college or university, and you can make an appointment to see a doctor there. So you don't have to go to the hospital. Another option that you have is to go to they're called like minute clinics or urgent care centers. So some stores like some pharmacies or stores like Walgreens and CVS, which I'll put these names in the chat if you're unfamiliar with these, have clinics, and they are inexpensive. So, oh gosh, I spelled that wrong. Inexpensive. Oops. So if you, and I have gone to Walgreens or CVS clinic many times myself for small problems, like if I had a cold or something like a headache or a stomach ache that I couldn't get rid of. You can go to these clinics in places like Walgreens or CVS, and you can see a doctor or a nurse. Actually, usually it's a nurse, and then they can also give you medicine that you can fill right there at the store, and it's a lot less expensive for you than going to the hospital or going to a doctor's office for something specific. Another option like this is an urgent care clinic. So if you have something more serious happen, maybe an accident, or you're really sick all of a sudden, and it's you can't go to your student health center on campus, for example, you can go to an urgent care clinic. I'll type that in here too. An urgent care clinic is just a location somewhere outside of your college or university that has doctors and nurses, and they can see you immediately most of the time without an appointment. So you can just walk in and say, I'm having a problem, or it's sort of an emergency and I need to see a doctor today, right now. The difference there is that you can walk in and see a doctor usually the same day. Whereas, let's say, for example, you have an ear problem and you want to see a doctor specifically for ears. And I can't remember the medical name for an ear doctor right now. Yeah, I can't remember. So an ear doctor, and you need to make an appointment and to specifically see an ear doctor, you may have to call their office and they will have an appointment for you in 1 week or 2 weeks or a month from now. So you have to wait to see a specialist, is what it's called. So a doctor that has a doctor's office and they specialize only in something specific like ear, nose, throat, something like that. So that kind of a doctor is called a specialist. And it is usually more expensive than those other options I just explained, like going to Walgreens or CVS to their clinic or to an urgent care center. And you have to make an appointment further in advance to see these specialists, these doctors that help take care of sick people for something specific like ears or shoulder, nose, whatever it is. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, go ahead and type them. I don't know medical terminology very well, obviously. So let me see, what other questions do I usually get from international students specifically? Okay, so what do I do if it is Saturday or Sunday, which are the days of the week of the weekend in the United States, which I know is different from some countries, like in the Middle East, for example, when your weekend is Friday and Saturday, and then the week starts on Sunday. So here, Saturday and Sunday, the Student Health Center on your campus at your college or university will probably be closed. So if you get sick on Saturday or Sunday, then again, you can use one of those options that I just described. So you can go to a clinic at a store like Walgreens or CVS. You can go to an urgent care center if it's very serious or you're more sick. And then your very last option, this is generally what we advise international students to do, because the hospital, specifically the emergency center, the emergency room, the ER in a hospital or the emergency room is your most expensive option. So I know I think how I'm talking about this is sounding like money is the only thing that you need to take into consideration. Of course, if you're really sick and it's a life-threatening emergency, you may die if you don't go to the hospital now, then definitely go to the emergency room at a hospital to get it taken care of or to see a doctor immediately. But if you're considering your finances and it's not something serious, or you're considering how much money you might spend, the most expensive option would be the emergency room at a hospital. So if you get a cold, or you maybe cut your finger, or you have a stomach ache, do not go to the emergency room, because there are much less expensive options for seeing a doctor or fixing these smaller types of problems that you can have. An emergency room is if you get into a car accident, God forbid, hopefully that doesn't happen to you, or it's something very, very serious, you would go to the emergency room at a hospital. And again, this is sort of related to money, but if you can avoid it, do not go to the hospital or the emergency room in an ambulance. So do you know what this word means? An ambulance is the vehicle used by a hospital to transport people to the emergency room. So, for example, if something very serious happens and you have to call 911, which is the number that we talked about last week in my safety webinar, if you remember, 911 is the number that you call if you are in the United States and you're having an emergency. That could be if something related to a crime, or also if it's something health related, like if someone has a heart attack, for example, they may call 911 and then the ambulance would come and take them to the hospital. So unless your problem is very serious, I highly, highly recommend, and this is something that many advisors in the United States will tell international students, is to drive yourself to the hospital or have a friend take you to the hospital if it is that serious that you need to go to the hospital. Yeah, so 911, we talked about that last week, and I remember, I think you said in Saudi Arabia it's 999 or something like that. So yeah, 999, got it. So this is just sort of an overview, and you'll probably hear some of this information again if you come to the United States and you have an orientation when you arrive with your school, and they will give you more specific information about the health center on your campus and what to do if you get sick and how to make an appointment at your health center and what to do if the health center is closed on the weekends and stuff, for example, and where you can get medicine. So that is something I guess I didn't talk about as much. You can, if you go to the doctor and the doctor says you need some medicine to fix your problem, you can go to your health center on campus and fill your prescription, is the phrase that we use in English to mean you go to the pharmacy and you ask them for the medicine that your doctor told you that you need. So you can go to the pharmacy. I'll type this word in here too, because I know it's kind of not a very common word. Pharmacy is the place where you get medicine that your doctor told you you need. So you can go to the pharmacy on campus at your college or university. At the health center, you can go to a pharmacy at those places I talked about already, like CVS or Walgreens, and get medicine that your doctor told you you need. And yeah, actually, that's about it. Those are the places you can get medicine if you need medicine in the United States. And again, you'll probably have to pay a small amount of the total, and then your health insurance will pay for the rest of the cost of the medicine. That's a lot of information for today. I don't want to get too detailed in this because there's a lot of information when it comes to health insurance in the United States. This is sort of the basics and just what to do if you are a student here and you get sick. I know what it feels like to be in your shoes and to be sort of scared or just worried about what to do in another country when you get sick. So there are lots of resources. I can help you if you have any other questions. I go into a lot more detail about this in my online course, How to Study in the US. I have a fact sheet on health insurance of everything you need to know about health insurance in the United States, or the one-on-one advising option with me. If you're interested in that, I'll put links below in the description of this video if you're watching it later. And that is all for today. I know this place, it's like a hospital, but he's a little, you mean a pharmacy? Yeah. I think you're talking about a pharmacy. A pharmacy it's not exactly like a hospital. There's no doctors, but they have medicine for you to get better if you're sick, and they give you the medicine that your doctor told you needed. So, do you have any other questions, Mohammed, before I end the webinar for today? That was sort of negative. I feel like a lot of that was like, oh, worst case scenario if you get sick or you have a heart attack or you get in an accident. But these kinds of things do not happen very often to students. Most of the time, if you're here for a semester or a few years, you might get sick once or twice and have to figure these things out of where to go and how to get medicine and stuff like that. But overall, for the most part, most students do not get sick. So this is just in case if this happens to you. And there's lots of resources on campus at your college or university that can help you at the health center or your advisors of what to do and where to go if you are sick. So, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Your life is nice now. Oh, well, I really appreciate you joining the webinar every Friday too. So tell your friends. I hope we can get more people in this community and just have more of an opportunity to talk with more future international students that are thinking about coming here. And so that's it for today. I will put all the links for my online course and my free online course and my paid online course or advising options in the description to check out if you're interested. Bye. Have a good Friday. Thanks for joining me.